What's up, everybody? Chicago Goon here, bringing you another Arsenal Talk. In this Arsenal Talk, I'll be covering some of the week's events. I'm going to talk about at least the Chelsea racist fans a little bit, and then I'm going to go into the Crystal Palace game, and then I'm going to talk about my trip to London coming up, and I'm going to need your help a little bit as I explain it later on. But I was gonna do like my own Arsenal talk about the racist Chelsea fans during the week, and I did do something with it, but I just never uploaded it. Um, but in the sport, I mean, in life, just in general, there's no need for being racist or calling a certain ethnic group out or doing what the Chelsea fans did on Tuesday in Paris by pushing a black man out of a train, not letting him get on, and the poor guy, he was just trying to get to a destination. Um, Being from America, we have our own ugly history of racism as far as Native Americans, slavery, civil rights movement, and um, living in America, you sometimes you see all this stuff, you learn about all of it. I'm a big history buff, so learning about all the past history of the United States, and seeing all that ugly history, you think it's terrible. You think it's the worst over here. And being a sports fan, I've been to plenty of baseball, football, NFL, college football, um, uh, basketball, soccer games here in the U.S. And just when I was starting to follow football, aka soccer, here in the U.S., when they start televising games a lot more, and they it's kind of like in the forefront now rather than it was kind of like an ugly cousin to sports here in America. In my time from being a kid all the way, since I can remember, from going to my first baseball game when I was about like 8 or 9, and up until now, not once have I ever heard a racist chant or a lone wolf rogue person um, at a game, any type of game, yell out any type of racial slur at a player. Um, and then once I started following football, aka soccer, it was pretty, it was right there. You always heard, at least for myself, I always heard that Europe was always better as far as racial tension and everything like that, with comparisons to United States. But once I started following football and becoming an Arsenal fan, and watching stuff like the Euros and Serie A and Bundesliga and some of the Eastern European, it's really prevalent in Eastern Europe, and I was shocked. Even to this day, it's still shocking. You see bananas getting thrown on the field. You hear monkey chants. You hear racial chants in their native language. HBO Sports did a little segment last year. It was with Thierry Henry and Josie Altidore, and a couple other players, but it focused on Josie Altidore and Thierry Henry, and of course Thierry Henry. He's played in France, he's played in England, Italy. He's been all over the world playing, and he kind of set up the whole segment of how bad it is over there, and um, you know maybe it's not like it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but it's still there. And in this day and age too, with the whole Chelsea thing, I mean, you have a mini computer sitting in your pocket every single day, and your phone, to where you can record. You can record video, you can record voice, take pictures, everything. And technology was right, front and center with the whole Chelsea thing, with someone using their phone and depicting these guys out and splashing it all over the internet, which is good because more of this needs to happen to where people need to be singled out. Since the incident, a lot of people are congratulating Chelsea for releasing that statement they did on Tuesday night. I still don't think it's good enough. People say it's good enough that Chelsea is trying to quote unquote ban these people, and supposedly they've banned 5 out of, I don't know, there was like 8 or 10 of them on that train, chanting and doing all that they did to this black man in Paris, and I still don't think it's good enough. I think UEFA needs to get involved. I think FIFA needs to get involved, and I think the FA needs to get involved. I think there should be some type of fine towards Chelsea. I think there should be some type of fine towards their next Champions League game. Because stuff like this is going to keep on going on. For myself, I wasn't raised that way. My parents didn't raise me as to be a racist or to treat people differently just because of the color of their skin. I was raised to treat everybody equal and to welcome people and rather than push them away. And this is where it starts. This is where it starts with parents, mom, dads, immediate family, uncles, grandfathers, whatever, to try to tell the kids of tomorrow, of the future, that this isn't right, that all people should be treated equal, regardless of the color of the skin, regardless of what their nationality is, where they come from. And this is the problem. This is probably the biggest problem we face today, because there's races and ethnic groups and nationalities and religious groups who think they're better than XYZ. Instead of everybody coming together and being united, people always try to fight the system. And it's going to continue, especially in football. If UEFA, FIFA, and even the FA don't take some type of stance on this, because they tiptoe around it, and they have been over the years, and it's pathetic. I know they've done some match bans for clubs, and that's where you have to hurt them. You have to hurt not only the club, but you have to hurt the fans as well. And first and foremost, just in my opinion, the fans have to police themselves. At some point, if you're sitting on that train and you're seeing this happening, why are you still sitting there? Why? Because there's maybe 10 or 15 of them. You might get your ass kicked, you might not. Where are the other people on this train trying to stand up and say, you know what, that's not right, let them on the train? Was the entire car Chelsea fans? Who knows? But again, if you're a Chelsea fan and you're seeing this and you don't agree with it, why are you letting your own fan base do this? Why not stand up and fight for what you believe in? Why not stand up and say this isn't right? And that's one of the biggest problems that we face today, is that people are too scared to stand up and talk about it and to do the right thing instead of doing the wrong thing all the time. Because doing the wrong thing is just sitting there and letting it happen. And that's the most troubling thing. With UEFA, with the FA, with FIFA even, start doing match bans. Hurt teams, even like Chelsea, even though they're made of money, give them 1 match ban. If it happens again, 3 match ban. Hurt them at their wallet. And you're hurting the fans on top of that. You're hurting the fans who are not associated with this, who are not associated with those fans. Yes, they might be Chelsea fans, but again, every fan base has that. I'm not going to just try to single out Chelsea fans are all racist, because they're not. Every fan base has their idiots. Arsenal has their idiots. I mean, you can just look on Twitter. There's plenty of them on there. But again, it's up to us to, as Arsenal fans, to single out those people and say, you know what, shut up. This isn't right of what you're doing, what you're saying. But again, as far as Chelsea goes, if you want to hurt them, if you want them to really take a stance on this and do what's right, hurt them in their wallet. You know, do a 1-match ban. If it happens again, 3-match ban. If it happens again, 6-match ban. Keep upping the stakes. Keep upping it. You know, if even if it's a distance away, let's say this doesn't happen for another year, so what? 3-match ban. I don't care if it happens 2 years from now, another 3-match ban, a 6-match ban, until the club finally stands up and really does something about this. Now they say they suspended their season tickets, which is ridiculous. At the first point, that they're only suspending, that they're going to investigate this further, but right now they're only suspended, even though some of the names have come out of these idiots on the train. But they're only suspended. They should be banned. Period. There should be, there should be no court for these guys whatsoever. They should just be banned. That's it. See you later. If they're identified, if they're completely identified from the video, the pictures that were taken in accordance to their own faces and everything, banned. Period. There should be no court. There should be no hearing whatsoever for these people. But Chelsea only wants to suspend them. So it starts with us first and foremost. You know, it starts with the fans. It starts with people in general. That we need to stand up as, a human race and realize that regardless of the color of your skin, you're still a human being. We all bleed the same blood when it comes down to it. But, that's all I'm going to get into with that. Let me know what your comments. Do you think that Chelsea handled it properly? Do you think the FA needs to get involved? Do you think UEFA really needs to get involved? Which they do. But yeah, let me know your comments on what should happen. I think too, for us not to forget about this. I think when something does happen, it runs its course for maybe a week or two, and then it just dies. We can't let that happen. As human beings, as fans of the game, we can't let this die. We have to keep on with it. Whether you go on Twitter or Facebook or any type of social media outlet, and you talk about it maybe once a day or once every couple days, so people won't forget about it. Because again, as a fan base, or just as fans of the game, we need to put more pressure on organizations like FIFA and UEFA and the FA to get something done about this. I mean, it's 2015. It's not 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 200 years ago. Someone needs to step up and take a stance for once instead of tiptoeing around it all the time. But going into the Crystal Palace game, it was an intense game, intense derby. You can definitely see with Alan Pardew as their manager now that they're playing a lot differently than they were under like a Tony Pulis or I forget the crazy's name from last year. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on his name. But you can see the difference in play. You can see their high pressing. You can see the energy out of the players of Crystal Palace. I understand that they're playing at home and they have one of the best, probably the best atmosphere of any English Premier League team. Arsenal fans, we have probably like the best away fans, to be honest with you. But as far as like home fans, we could learn a lot from a club like Crystal Palace, just because of their energy. I mean, they were still down, 2-0 in the 89th minute, and they were still singing their songs and going nuts. I mean, those are some of the craziest fans. I envy those kind of fans with that type of atmosphere. I was wishing and praying that they were going to stay up last year just because of their fan base and how awesome their atmosphere is at Crystal Palace. And I hope they continue to stay up because they're not like some of these other teams that stay up and they're only just going to take the fruits of everybody else's labor, like an Arsenal or Chelsea or Man City or Manchester United, Liverpool, Everton. Some of the bigger clubs who do make all the money for the English Premier League. To where you see a team maybe like a Crystal Palace who might be just in it to take the fruits of their labor and pocket the money, which they don't really do. They've spent some money over the transfer windows, which is good to see. That they're taking this seriously. They want to stay up. They just don't want to be a bottom half team or a team that just scrapes by and doesn't get regulated. And I'm a little bit of a fan just because of their atmosphere and their fan base. So I hope they continue to stay up. But as far as the game goes, they were high energy throughout the entire game. But at the same time, I think we were too, as far as being in the right place at the right time. I think we were lucky too as well that Crystal Palace really doesn't have any finishers on their team. They really had a difficult time finishing getting that final ball put into the back of the net because they had plenty of crosses. They had a shitload of crosses today. I think they had something like between 12 and 13 shots on goal. Their goal late came late, and then they had an opportunity at the end of the game which came off the post. But it was scary at some points when you're watching that game, just because of their high energy, their high pressing, and we really couldn't do all that much in the second half. I think we were kind of set in our ways that we're like, okay, we're up 2-0 and we're just going to kind of sit back and they're not going to score. If they do score, it's probably going to be a late one, just because of all the high pressure that they were putting on Arsenal at the end. Of course, that did happen. But the first half was pretty much, it was kind of back and forth, back and forth. It was a physical game as well. There was plenty of challenges there. One by Coughlin right in the beginning of the game, right in the second minute of the game, that he should have got a yellow card for. I don't know how Clattenburg saw the challenge, but he was pretty high. I don't know if he thought that Coughlin just didn't know that. God, who was that? I don't know if it was what's his name? I don't know if it was Punchin or God, I forgot their striker's name now, or Gale. I think it might have been on Gale on that high boot, but I don't know if he thought that Coughlin just wasn't paying attention and he didn't think that Gale was there or Punchin was there, and yeah, he put his studs right into his chest. The same thing happened. They were mentioning it on the broadcast that the same thing happened with Nani last year or 2 years ago with the Manchester United Real Madrid game, and Nani got a straight red card. And even the commentators were saying that should be a red card offense, and he should be sent off. He's lucky not to even get a card. I thought he was lucky not to even get a card, but he made another challenge like 5 minutes later, and he got his first yellow like right off the bat. Obviously that's what was said with Clattenburg. If you make another foul, even if it's a ticky-tack foul, you're going to get a yellow card. Period. Which did happen, but it was very physical. It was up and down. It was kind of like a classic EPL game where it was just end to end, box to box throughout the entire first half. Both teams were attacking. Both teams were making chances. We were making our own chances. Right in the beginning of the game, Mesut Ozil made a perfect run, not offsides, and the side judge called him offsides, and he was clearly onside. You couldn't even see, even down the line, where the ref was, the side judge at least. You couldn't even see Mesut Ozil and the line, but yet he still called him offsides. And Mesut Ozil turned around after he got the ball, punched it into the back of the net, but then it was called offsides. Again, right at the beginning of the game, you're just thinking, oh God, we're just going to get fucked by the refs today. And it's just going to be one of those games that we have to win on our own, and we have to, eliminate the referee completely, which is tough to do, especially in the English Premier League, and especially of how the refs have been handling themselves over this year. I mean, it's been the worst year for refs this year. Out of any year that I can really remember. I mean, it's been horrible this year. I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody has seen all the kind of like BS that's been going on. But our first goal, that's why we have Danny Welbeck out there. Uh, to make a comparison, you saw throughout the game Wilfred Zaha, and you could see why Zaha is now no longer a part of Manchester United. Of course, the negatives on Zaha was always he always tries to take on defenders. He always hangs on to the ball way too long, and he gets taken away from him because he doesn't have a final product. He doesn't know when to get rid of the ball. When you take I'm not going to compare him to Alexis Sanchez because Alexis Sanchez is a world-class player, but when you go look at a Danny Welbeck or even an Oxlade-Chamberlain, um, to where they take defenders on, but they know what to do with the ball when they get it. They know when to get rid of the ball before a defender has an opportunity to, poke the ball away or to regain possession, or to track down what their run or what they think their run is. And luckily we have those guys rather than Zaha, because Zaha he runs out of ideas fast. He tries to do his skill moves and everything to try to get around the defender, but sometimes once he even does that, he just runs out of ideas. But with Danny Welbeck, you've seen it this year, even with us, of how he takes on defenders and the moves he makes and the final product that he has. Of how many goals that he has kind of created for us just this year alone, from his pace, from his ability to take on defenders. And you saw it today. He had a defender, making circles around himself. Defender was off balance. His feet were just all over the place, and he made a great move to go inside the box, and he had an opportunity to even get around the defender and try to make even a shot on goal, but the defender stuck his leg out. It was right on the line. The commentators were trying to say that it should have been a free kick rather than a PK, but if you keep on looking at it over and over again, it should have been a PK regardless. It was a bad challenge. It was great, forward thinking by Danny Welbeck, and of course we got the PK. Santi stepped up, took it like a pro. I think he's something like 6 for 6 this year from PKs. He hasn't missed one yet. It seems like he's the main PK taker now, which is great to see, rather than maybe putting Ozil up there, who hasn't been that great, at least for us, as far as taking PKs. I know Giroud can probably take it as well, but Santi's just the man right now. And even after that goal, you could see the boost it kind of gave the guys. It gave, especially Santi. Santi played, I thought, pretty well today, at least in the first half and in parts of the second half, and then he basically went defensive for the rest of the game as well as everybody else did. The second goal by Giroud, it was a nice sequence between Alexis Sanchez, Danny Welbeck, and then Giroud mopping it up. Alexis Sanchez, what a perfect ball. I think Welbeck was slightly offsides when it happened, but it happened so quick. Just because of his pace and the run that he made it more of a diagonal run than he did a straightforward run. So I think that might have convinced the side judge that he was not offsides, and maybe he got a plenty of stick for the Mesut Ozil, which was onside. Maybe it was a little bit of a makeup call, who knows? But I thought he was a little slightly offsides on that pass. But again, great pass by Alexis Sanchez. Welbeck took it, tried to make a shot on it. Speroni made a good save off of it, but like any striker, like any forward player, regardless of what happens, you should always be breaking towards net. Whether it's near post, far post, right in the middle, you should always be breaking towards net, regardless, because you never know what's going to happen. Especially over the last few games, you've seen deflections and rebounds that are there. Theo Walcott had a rebound goal against Leicester City. Now you saw it today again too with Olivier Giroud and Crystal Palace. You kind of thought after that second goal that, okay, we're in control, even though the possession stats and kind of like the stats overall kind of showed that Crystal Palace was dominating the game a little bit more than we were. But I think we were a little bit smarter, more precise as far as our final third went, because we had a lot of opportunities, I thought, especially in the first half. Our last opportunity, I thought was perfect. It came off of a corner. Uh, Crystal Palace had a corner. Mesut Ozil was on a break by himself. I mean, all by his lonesome. He made one move on the Crystal Palace. Um, it was kind of, you see some forward players, wingers, strikers, who would have just kept on running and would have kept on trying to take the defender on and make a shot for himself. But Mesut Ozil, he was aware of what was going on. He was patient. He slowed it down. And of course, you saw a streaking Alexis Sanchez just running up the left side. Again, being patient, making that perfect pass. He made an absolute perfect pass to him. I mean, Alexis Sanchez didn't need to break stride. He only needed to take a couple touches and to take a shot on net. It was inches away. I think, if you give that opportunity to Alexis Sanchez, he'll probably make 8 out of 10 of them. It was inches away. I don't know if it came off of his shoe or his cleat wrong, or if his foot wrong, but it was just inches away. It really could have put the game away. Even being up 2-0, I thought we needed maybe one more goal to just put the game away because even being up 2-0, Crystal Palace was still fighting. They're still not giving up, which is good to see. Some teams when they go down 2-0 or even 3-0, they just kind of give up and they say, okay, we're just going to play defensive so we don't get embarrassed. But Crystal Palace, they didn't give up. But that was basically kind of like our last real chance of the game, and that came pretty early. I think it came around like the 60th minute, somewhere around there, and we still had enough of the game left to be a little bit worried. Arsene made some changes, of course. Rosicky came on, Gibbs came on, Gabriel came on late in the game. And again, they were just making cross after cross, and Chambers was a little handicapped just because of his pace. Same with Monreal. He was a little bit handicapped with his pace just because Zaha's a lot faster than he is. But we defended well, I thought. We're lucky at times, but at the same time, our guys were in the right position. Coughlin was in the right position. Koscielny, I thought, had a great game. Other than having that goal go in late in the game, I thought he had a great game. I thought Pure had a good game as well. The communication of that back line now, it seems to be fluid. It seems to be constant. With the guys back there, and it's starting to take shape. It's starting to take shape as a great partnership, especially with Coughlin and Koscielny and Mertesacker and getting all the guys on board. Defensively, I thought we played pretty well today. Even though we did let a lot of crosses in, there was only a few of them that were really dangerous. You even saw Mesut Ozil tracking back several times today, playing defensive. And, maybe he's starting to get that feeling of, okay, this is how I have to start playing. If I want to be in the starting 11, if I have to continuously play. And, who knows, maybe Alexis Sanchez, too, is giving him a little stick of saying, get back, let's defend, let's take these 3 points, and, let's leave out of here with 3 points. And it was good to see him doing that, too. He was one of the first ones off, obviously. Him and Welbeck were the first ones out. Of course, for Rosicky and Gibbs to be a little bit more defensive because, Arsene made up his mind at, around the 65th, 70th minute that we're just going to grind this out. Which was kind of fine, but at the same time, you're kind of just hoping for that third goal. We had a couple opportunities late in the game, but the passing just wasn't there. I think we started to have a little bit of dead legs near the end of the game, that where we just, our attack just wasn't there because we were so defensive late in the game. But again, 3 points is 3 points, regardless of how you look at it, regardless of how you look at the stats and say, we got lucky, we got dominated in certain parts of the game. But top 3 now, at least at the minimum, by the end of the weekend, we'll be top 4. Swansea City beat Man U today. They just look awful. I saw some of the highlights of the game, and they have zero ideas of what they want to do attacking. You look at all that attacking talent, and they just have no idea what the fuck they want to do. And it's comical. It really is. When you spend that type of money, when you have those type of quote-unquote world-class players, world-class strikers, wingers, it's a joke. It's a shit show. I hope they continue to play like this. honestly, um, because it'll only benefit us hopefully going forward. It'll only help us, uh, confidence wise. But again, top four, we're back into it. We're going to be in top four no matter what at the end of the weekend. Southampton has Liverpool, or yeah, Southampton has Liverpool tomorrow or today when you'll be uh, listening to this. I almost want to see Liverpool just fucking lose, because that'll almost be the end of them too. But at the same time, you're almost kind of wishing for that draw, because then Arsenal will be sitting in that third spot, which that's what we want. We want at least third this season, um, at the end of the season, so we don't have to worry about a playoff next year. That's the biggest thing, at least in my mind. Having two less extra games, especially early in the year, I think that would be beneficial to us, and I think it'll be great if we can finish third. That we're kind of progressing forward at least a little bit. But again, top four, I'll take it any way we can get it this year, just because it's been a dismal season with, tactics, injuries, what have you. It's just been a crazy season so far. But there's a lot to be, there's still a lot more to go. There's still a lot more that needs to be done. We just can't say that we're in the top four and be done with it. We have to remember that we have to still play. We have to still continue to fight on and still get 3 points. 3 points or failure should still be the motto until the very last game of the season, regardless. It needs to be that way. It seems like everything's coming into line. Everything's taking shape finally for us, and we're having a little bit of luck go our way. With hopefully with maybe a Southampton and Liverpool tie, I think that'll give us a 5 point cushion on Liverpool. It'll give us I think a 2 point cushion on Southampton, because they'll move down to fourth if they tie tomorrow. And yeah, let's see what the table says right here. Arsenal at 48 points, Manchester United at 47, and then Southampton, if they tie tomorrow, they will be tied with Manchester United, but then they'll have goal difference. They have 21 plus 21. Manchester United is plus 18. We're at plus 20 right now. So again, you have to keep on looking at that goal differential, because it's going to be huge at the end of the season. Giving up that goal late, it kind of hurt. We should be plus 21 instead of plus 20. But again, falling asleep a little bit at the end of the game, that Crystal Palace game, and it can hurt anybody, regardless of how talented you are. Of course, there's games still to be played. Tottenham plays West Ham. Let's kind of hope that West Ham kind of pulls out a result as well, maybe another tie as well, because then we'll be 4 points clear of Tottenham. We'll be 5 to possibly even 6 points clear of Liverpool, and those are the teams that you really have to worry about, I think, too. But again, those teams are playing Europa again. They're having those Thursday night games, so who knows what they're going to be playing like. It might benefit Southampton tomorrow, but either way, we're top four, and we have to just look forward instead of looking back. We have to keep on pressing forward, because let's see, we're 7 points off of Manchester City. Are they catchable? Sure, but a lot needs to happen for us to manage second place. But they're only 5 points off currently from Chelsea, because Chelsea fucking drew today too against Burnley, which is hilarious. I know there's a lot of PK mess in there that should have been called, but screw them. They deserve zero luck out of these past events on Tuesday. They deserve zero anything. That football club, for all the shitty things that they fucking do year after year. But yeah, that'll end that. Going on to my trip to London. Can't wait. Leave on Monday. Monday morning, I'll get into London on Monday night. The first 2 days I'm going to be there, it's just going to be all about Arsenal. On Tuesday, I take the stadium tour. I hope that the stadium tour is sometimes they're subject to change, just because it can be a cancellation of some sorts, and it's a very good possibility, because it is a day before a Champions League European night, and it might change, but I really hope it stays on, And Tuesday, of course, going on a stadium tour and the museum tour. Can't wait to see that. It's gonna be it's gonna be so much fun just actually being there. Instead of just always watching on TV, seeing pictures and all that stuff. That I'm actually gonna just be there, seeing all the statues from Tony Adams to Bergkamp and Henri, and being able to see some of the old trophies and kits that they wore, and just seeing the stadium in general. Of course, Wednesday is the game. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to be inside the stadium and just see a game, see a live game, see a live Arsenal game for the first time in my life. And I'm just so stoked, so pumped up for this event. The rest of my time in London, it's just going to be minor compared to what the first 2 days. Because the first 2 days are just going to be all about Arsenal. But here's my predicament. Here's my problem that I have. Ever since Puma was announced, and I wanted to get an authentic jersey, but I always kept on holding off of getting an authentic jersey for some reason. Of course, in November of last year, that's when I finally decided. It fit perfectly through one of my vacation time through work that they were going to have a home fixture. It was originally against Everton. But now, of course, with the Champions League draw and the Champions League game, they moved the game back, the Everton game back to Sunday. But of course, I get to go see a Champions League game, which will be, it's just gonna be fucking great. But again, I was holding off, and of course, once I decided to go to London in November, that's when I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna hold off, and I'm just gonna buy an authentic jersey in London rather than buying it off of the internet, whether it's through Puma or another a football/soccer website that sells all the jerseys. WorldSoccerShop.com is one of the places I usually go to. But here's my predicament. I want to buy an authentic jersey, even if I get another regular jersey that I already have. Of course, I want to get a name on the back. I want to get a number. But again, in this day and age, when you try to get players' names in the back, players move around all the time. That's the one big problem I have with putting players' names on the back, because a year from now, 2 years from now, they might be gone from the club. They might even just have a cup of coffee with the club. And of course, here I am with a jersey with the player's name on the back who's not even part of the club anymore, who probably might not even be remembered as one of the first Arsenal legends or even an Arsenal legend. So what do I do? Do I go with a current player? Because on the same note, I also want to get an England national team jersey as well. I collect some of those. I have an Italy one. Of course, I have a U.S. one. Definitely want to get an England one. Because I like their, I know they're coming out with new kits probably for, the Euros coming up. I know usually nations come out with different kits almost every year, especially like away jerseys. I know U.S. just came out with their new away kit for this summer or for this year, and it's okay. I mean, it's I don't know, but I definitely want to get an England shirt as well. But what do? Do I go with for the Arsenal shirt, do I go with a current player or do I go with a Arsenal legend? Because again, you can't go wrong with an Arsenal legend, and you can always wear that jersey, and you can always associate that player with Arsenal, rather than if, of course, Theo Walcott's my favorite player currently on Arsenal. Do I go with him? But then there's a lot of rumors going around that Arsenal is trying to trying to get him to sign a new contract, and they're going to have contract talks, but there might be a possibility that he might get shipped out. I don't know. There's some of those rumors flying around. So that's what scares me about getting a current player. I would love to get either a Theo Walcott or a Mesut Ozil or even Alexis Sanchez, but with Alexis Sanchez, once Rosicky leaves the club, Alexis Sanchez is going to take the number 7, so the number 17 is going to be kind of worthless to have that. I know they could probably take the number off and whatever, but do I go with an Arsenal legend? Do I go with a Henri or a Bergkamp or a Perez jersey, which I wouldn't mind, or a Vieira even, which I wouldn't mind? Maybe even an Ian Wright, or especially with the England shirt. Do I go with a current do I go with the England shirt? Do I do a Theo Walcott on that shirt, or do I go with an old Arsenal legend like a Ian Wright with an England shirt, or do I go with like a you know I guess some of the current players, on the England national team, whether it's like a Wilshere or Chambers, or I could still put like a Tony Adams on the back of a England national shirt. I could still put a Ian Wright on a back of a national shirt. But I'm almost leaning towards getting the England, like a Theo Walcott England jersey, and then going with a Arsenal legend. With my authentic jersey as far as my Arsenal shirt that I'm going to get, because I definitely want one, of course, from the homeland, quote unquote, because it's always kind of nice to have like a little story of you're sitting in a pub or a bar or something like that, and someone notices your jersey and they talk about it, and there's always, you can always have that like little story. But give me your opinions on it. Should I go with a current player with the Arsenal shirt, or should I go with a legend? I'm almost kind of thinking of a Robert Perez, number 7 would be kind of cool. Even a Vieira too as well. Almost not going towards what most people would get, an Henry or a Bergkamp. Those would probably be like the first 2 names that people would probably get. Maybe even Wright. Maybe even a Tony Adams or something. So I kind of want to almost be a little different and get something different rather than getting the same thing that everybody else gets. But yeah, let me know your opinions on that, and kind of give me your thoughts on what you would do, of how you would spend your money if you had an opportunity to get to an Arsenal authentic jersey and then even an England jersey. Who would you get? What names on the back would you get? But that'll be it for right now. Of course, the next Arsenal talk, I probably will not do one after the Monaco game, because I'll be in London, of course. I'll get back. I leave, of course, Monday, and I get back on Sunday, March 1st. So I'll get back after the Everton game. I'll probably watch that when I get home, and then also probably I'll do a review on that and the Monaco game and my trip, and post a bunch of pictures. Take a look. Keep an eye on my Twitter throughout the week. Because I'll be definitely posting a ton of pictures when I do a stadium tour, and of course the game as well. I'll be posting tons of pics on my Twitter page at Chicago_Gooner. So take a look at that. Keep that in mind as well when you're on Twitter, when you're watching the game on Wednesday, to kind of keep an eye out for some of those pictures, because I'll be taking a ton of them. But again, I'll be doing a review on that, and hopefully, again, I can't wait for the game. Hopefully, at least going forward, that we impose our will, impose our powers, I guess, on Monaco, get the game done, because you saw some of the fixtures that happened this past week in Champions League, and you saw a lot of draws and close games. We should go out there and kick their teeth in, and end the game, and end the two legs of the series over in that first game. Beat them 3-0, 4-0, what have you. Let's just put the game to bed in a way, even to maybe even rest up for the Everton game, and hopefully that's 3 points. That's a home fixture as well, so that's huge. But again, I'll probably be doing some type of review on that Sunday or Monday, depending on how I feel, how much jet lag I have as well. But yeah, take a look at my Twitter. Keep an eye on it. I'll be posting definitely plenty of pictures as well, just of going throughout the city and taking all the tours and stuff like that. But super pumped and can't wait.